everyone. Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining my review of 90 Day Fiance Before the 90 Days, Season 7, Episode 3, Sound and the Fury. So the first couple we see is Renee and Chitty. Renee is cleaning the room. It didn't look very dirty to me, but she was definitely sweeping. There was a little bit of dirt, so she's sweeping. They don't have like a regular broomstick, but they have like a handheld broom. But she has to get out kind of down on all fours to kind of sweep, or on her knees and sweep. And she talks about how the night went, and she tells us that she was it was pretty humid in the room, and she also talks about it being on the cooler side as well. So she didn't get a lot of sleep, but as you can see, she looks to be in good spirits. And next thing you know, Chitty walks into the room, and the first thing I noticed that Chitty doesn't give her any type of hug. She's always showing him some type of affection, whether she's touching him, whether she's googly eyes with him, or whatever the case is. Like, he doesn't show any emotion towards her. That's a little strange to me. But anyways, he does tell her that he's going to cook for her breakfast, and she follows him into the kitchen, where she sits at the table and he cooks for her. And to be honest, I didn't know, blind people actually cooked, but it's good that they do. So definitely has some independence to it. So she's sitting at the table, he's cooking, and she's talking to him, and she's still definitely touchy feely. She's always touching his back. She's always giving him a smile or giving him that googly eye, and he still is just like zero emotion, which to me is a little suspect. Like, you had me come all the way down here, and it's one to say that I have to sleep in a separate room, but then you don't even show any, reciprocation of me giving you a hug, or just showing some interest, which I don't see. She doesn't know how to read the room, so she'll probably continue doing it. So he did explain at the table a little bit of how he's able to cook. He said he was around his mom a lot, because he enjoyed being around her. And, he just remembers because, he hasn't been blind all his life. He remembers the kind of the measurements of certain things. And I think he uses like a temperature gauge if he's like cooking meat or something. I don't know. But any kind of food, I guess. So that's how he's able to cook. But then he talks about them going to the market. His sister has to go get some things at the market, and so she's gonna come along with them. And we all know that Renee does not like. Well, she would rather be the one that guides Chitty around. But the sister's main reason for coming along and guiding Chitty is because the traffic is absolutely crazy. Once we get out onto the street, you'll see, or you already probably saw, that there was like cars flying everywhere. There are people on mopeds. There are, their streets are not paved like in the US. There's no lines on the street. It's just a dirt road. And there's lots of holes in the street as well where he could possibly fall into. And I feel like even with the blind stick that they use, like, I still, because the cars are flying and they might not even really notice them. Because if you're trying to get out of the way of another car, you might not even notice that Chitty's, right there. So it is a little bit dangerous. I do see that it would be better for him to have, someone with him at all times, or drive him wherever he has to go. So next we see them at the market. They are at different, I don't know what you call them, booths or whatever, but there's fruit and veggies everywhere. We all know that their food is generally out, flies, all of that get on it. But then they get to the booth where they have live chickens. And this is where Renee has a problem because she feels like um, Chitty's sister already knew that she likes chickens and that she doesn't kill them. But I think the issue that Chitty's sister had was that she also still eats meat. She still eats chicken. And so they were about to kill this chicken right in front of them because that's their culture. This is what they do in Africa. And I think instead of, the reaction that Renee gave them, she probably would have been better off just walking away. Now, granted, I don't like that either, but I would have just, probably gone and stood somewhere else, or yeah, I would have just gone somewhere else and let them kill the chicken and they can meet up with me when they were done. But she makes this big ordeal about it. And the contradictory thing that she said was that Renee said that she sees the chicken as her equal. Well, how is that, Renee, when you still eat them? They're still killed. They're not killed the same way. In the US, they're in a manufacturing plant where probably the machines, kill them. But nonetheless, it's still dead, when you eat it. So I didn't really understand that. She really didn't have a point to make except for the way the chicken was killed. So, anyways, nonetheless, Chitty and Renee end up going over to another location and talking while Chitty's sister finishes up, purchasing things that she needs. And so we also see that Chitty decides, for whatever reason, to bring up the conversation about his vows because he knows he sees Renee getting very, touchy feely with him, and he knows that she's ready to be intimate with him, and he wants to make it clear that his vows are not going to allow him to sleep with her before they get married. Well, my thing is, first of all, they've had 5.5 years to talk about her coming and not being intimate until they got married, or just telling her that in general he doesn't want to get intimate until he's married. That's something I feel like they could have talked about in the last 5.5 years that they claim they've been talking. So I just feel like, she looked like she wanted to explode because not only did you tell me we can't sleep in the same room, you're now telling me we're never, during this visit, they're never going to be intimate. So I can understand where she would be a little upset about it. And I'm still trying to read Chitty and what his real motive and goal is for her coming. Hopefully it's not to get to the US. It could be, but so far I just feel like it's pretty messed up. What's going on, what's happening, because I feel like he's intentionally holding stuff back and telling her these, dropping these little nuggets along the way while she's in his country. So nonetheless, that was all they had to say about Chitty and Renee. And next up, we have Tiger Lily and Adnan. So we see Tiger Lily and Adnan leaving the hotel on their way to the wedding location. Once they get inside the wedding location venue, they what's her name? Tiger Lily gets to meet that's an unusual name, Tiger Lily. I always want to call her Lily, but Tiger Lily gets to meet 3 of his brothers and also his mother. So they all hug and then they go have a seat so that the ceremony can begin. And there's a translator there for Tiger Lily, but they're just talking and talking and talking about whatever, is in that, anything about that particular marriage ceremony. So she looks very confused with whatever they're telling her. I was so busy watching her reactions and facial, her laughing and stuff like that. You can tell she was smiling, I think, to just save face, but I think she was really kind of confused. So, because I was too, even with the translator. So, anyways, we see her next sign this Muslim marriage contract, and I'm just like, I would never do that. There's no way in hell that I'm going to sign a marriage contract without knowing exactly what I'm signing for. And I think it's important that she kind of got to understand it. She could have always, I always say that she could have, Googled it or watched a YouTube video. I'm sure there are plenty of them out there that have, how the ceremony actually goes and what to expect. So there's really no excuses. But she signed it, and Adnan, all he could think about is getting back to the hotel. That's it. Getting back to the hotel and you know, having his wedding night with Tiger Lily. So he gets to the room, he, tells all the crew they have to get out. It's his marriage night, and yeah. So next thing you know, we see them the next morning, waking up, and he just seems like he always has an agenda. It's like, okay, time to get out the bed. He didn't say that, but that's kind of the way he came across. It's time to get out. Let's go. We have to get over to the wedding venue. We have to, not the wedding venue, but to the family's house to have a family feast. And that's where they're headed to. But we all know that Tiger Lily has her glam squad, and so she wants her hair done by her hairstylist. So she tells him that he can come down, and because I think they're all in the same hotel. So she tells him, to come down, and she lets Adnan know that her hairstylist is coming to do her hair. And while the hairstylist is there, Adnan is asking her, I feel, are dumb questions because he already knew that the hairstylist was a male and that the hairstylist that was coming down coming down to their room was the same hairstylist that he saw at the hotel. I mean, at the airport. So he tells the camera that he will allow it this time because she knows him. She's known him, I guess, over 20 years. He's like a brother to her, and he allows it. But not in the future. He said that it's not going to be appropriate, and what he does is sits there and watches the entire time that she gets her hair done. So I don't know. I feel like she left one controlling marriage into another controlling marriage. And I don't feel sorry for her because I feel like she's definitely saw the signs and she's definitely decided or chosen, not to see the signs. So whatever happens, happens. So I hope she has plan B and a good lawyer. So, next, we see them at the family feast. Then she's also meeting a lot of his extended family, and there was definitely a lot. I mean, when she got there, it was just a lot of hugging, a lot of smiles, a lot of fake smiles, in my opinion. And they have something like, they had a table where there were all of his brothers and male family members were at, and they were just eating the food with their hands and just kind of like grabbing the food and just throwing it in their mouth. And I understand that that's their culture, but it was definitely interesting to see. Tiger Lily is at the table with the mom and some other probably siblings and probably sister-in-laws and stuff like that. And so she is being made to eat a lot of this food, and I just don't know if I could have done it. Because I think she finds out later that she was eating sheep. So yeah, I think I'm gonna need to know what this food is first. But maybe again, she could have Googled it, or she could have did a YouTube video and found out like what kind of foods that they might be eating, what type of meat they might be cooking, things of that nature. So, anyways, it was definitely a lot. Um, they did ask, the brothers asked her, or asked Adnan, if he was going to be moving to the US with Tiger Lily. And he kind of doesn't give a straightforward yes or no. He kind of says, well, he'll be back and forth. And I don't think that that's what Tiger Lily had in mind. So there are a lot of things they should have worked out and talked about before they even got to the marriage point. But nonetheless, they are already married, and so we will see how that goes. So the next couple is one of our newest couples, a couple called the male is Sunny, and then he is dating a girl in Florida named Vea. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not really sure, but Sunny lives in Durban, South Africa, and Vea lives in Orlando, Florida, and she's 27, and Sunny is 25. So Sunny tells us a little bit about him. He says he grew up in Bangladesh. He said that his mother and his sister still live in Bangladesh. And he said that he moved there to help his dad run his store. So the backstory about the dad is that the dad left when Sonny was pretty young. So his dad had been away he didn't really grow up with his dad because his dad left and went to Durban to, I guess, try to run his own business. So he has now, like I said, joined his dad. He is helping out with the store. And then he tells us that he's a pretty or extremely shy person. And so it took him a while to make friends in Durban. But he did say that he got out. He ended up deciding to just get out and just meet people. And he feels a little bit more comfortable now. And he's okay now. He's more comfortable. So he also says that there are many nationalities in Durban. He said that also made, him feel better as well. It's kind of like he has some brothers and sisters there, and looks like they have a lot of Muslim community there as well. So he said he also had a girlfriend or a girl he dated, something like that. He dated her for a little bit. He said it didn't work out. So what he did was downloaded an international dating app, and that's where he met Bea. And he came across Bea. So he says that she's coming to see him in a week. And then, he learned that she had a pretty hard life. She grew up as in a foster home. And so, she's not close to her family. And he feels like he can relate because, he didn't grow up his earlier years with his dad. So he does feel like he can relate a little bit to her. So he feels like they'll have something in common. And that might be, but time will tell. So next we have Brian and Ingrid. So as we know from last episode, Brian landed, and he is now getting ready to drive over to the hotel with Ingrid because they've decided that they're going to stay in a hotel the first night, and then they're going to drive or ride that same bus that she took back to her place. Because remember, this was like a 3-hour bus ride from her place to the airport. So she's definitely not close to the airport. So as they go to the car, I guess he wants to drive. So he has brought along his hand controls to, I believe, to accelerate and to put on the accelerator and to put on the brake. So he's asking her to kind of assist him, with putting the hand controls, on the accelerator and the brake. So she's like, okay, but it was a little fishy to her because she kind of felt like he's super independent and he drives a lot, so he probably knows how to put them on himself. But I think he was just testing her to see if she would help out if he asked. And she went ahead and did it. Definitely, she had to get down and, kind of dirty just to get down there and put that stuff on, those controls on. But nonetheless, she got them on. They're off and ready to drive to the airport. I mean, to the hotel. So they get to the hotel and they get their room and they're definitely hot and sweaty, probably ready to go take a shower and go to bed. It's been a long day, probably for both of them. So we have, I guess he said that she could go first. So she decides to take her shower first, and he continues to talk to her while she's taking a shower, and he offered her a t-shirt and things like that. And she finally gets done. She comes out and she comes out and he decides that, and it's his turn to go in. So he goes in. He's asking her for a little bit of help, and I'm thinking, once again, I guess he's again trying to see what her reactions will be. Again, another test. So she goes in the shower with him to kind of help him switch from his wheelchair to this little, I don't know what it is. It's kind of a seat that goes in the shower so that he can sit down and take a shower. And she does that part, but I think at this point she's starting to get a little uncomfortable, as I would too, because does he have any clothes on? I'm assuming not. And I don't know if she wants to ready to see that just yet. Yeah, I don't know if she's ready to see all what he's offering just yet. So, and what that looks like. So, she does help him switch from the wheelchair to the shower chair, but then she leaves. And then she goes and gets in the bed, and then he's still talking from the shower, and he starts talking about is it a catheter or cathera? Something he has to use for urinating. Catheter, I think. I don't know. I can't remember. But anyway, it's for him to um, urinate. And at that point, like, I would just be like, listen, I can't. I just would not be able to do it. It just would be nothing going on because I just couldn't. I wouldn't be able to do it. I just wouldn't. But hopefully she doesn't mind all of that. But from her facial expressions, she was literally like, this is TMI. I don't want to hear all of this right now, at least. I just met you, and he's just talking away. So, anyways, he also had told us something about he took a half of a blue pill before he got there, and that was TMI too. No one cares. I don't even know if she's even willing to give it up to you. So we will see. She's a pretty lady. She's super tall. But yeah, I mean, hopefully things work out. We'll see. But for now, that was Brian and Ingrid. And last we have Faith and Lauren. So we see Faith and Lauren leaving the airport. They are about to check in at the hotel that Faith works at. And so they get to the counter in the hotel, and all of her friends are waiting there because remember, she works at the hotel, so she knows all of the workers at the hotel. She introduces him. They say, hi to him. And, they seem like they were very, very welcoming friends of hers. And so he gets his room. I don't know when exactly he found out that he was going to be sleeping in the room by himself. I think it's when they walk up to the room door. And she says, well, this is your room. And he smiles. He smiles a lot. You can't really tell. I think I can't read him very well. So, but I don't think he was ready for that, to hear that. I think he really was hoping that they were going to be in the same room. But nonetheless, he says it's okay. and he wants to take a shower, and then they were gonna go get dressed and go out to eat. So next time we see them, they are walking to the restaurant and getting their food. I could have sworn she looks like she was paying for the food, but I don't know, because we all know he doesn't have any money. But they sit down, they eat. She tells him that she is happy that he's there. He's happy as well. And they did talk about, he did let her know that it was okay that she didn't want to sleep in the room with him, but he said that they got to figure this out pretty quickly because they only have, I guess, 20 days that he'll be staying there and then he'll be leaving. So, but, in her mind, she's not rushing anything, at least not this episode. She's not rushing in a rush to do anything. She kind of just wants to take it slow and kind of get to know him. And I feel like he is wanting to take it a lot faster, because I think he just wants to get out of his situation in the US so that he can have a place to stay. So as they're sitting there talking, we know that Lauren had this ridiculous girlfriend test that he talked about in the US, and he also brought it and he gave it to Faith. And she opened it up, she looked at it, she looked at the questions. They were really ridiculous to her. She thought it was really like childish, and she didn't understand a lot of the questions. But nonetheless, she kind of goes along with it a little bit. She asked some of the questions, and she kind of got some of them right, but not all of them. But she did think it was kind of ridiculous. So I don't know about these two. I can't get a good reading. As I stated, she's just not in a rush, but I don't know. We will see as time goes by, but definitely we'll keep an eye out on them. So thank you so much for joining me for my review. And I really do appreciate it. And on your way out, if you like this content, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.